Hi, my name is Tom Freeman. I'm a co-instructor in the course on applied behavior analysis, working with Dr. Jose Martinez-Diaz. I've worked with Jose on and off for 14 years now, and I'm participating in these courses because I really feel strongly about how the quality of the courses and how effective these courses could be in teaching you how to do applied behavior analysis. I started in this field in 1979. I moved to Florida in 1995, just as the certification process was being revamped and really the new certification process coming into play. And we've decided that it would be a good idea for me to give you a talk about really maintaining academic integrity. We might call this "Why Not Cheat?" I'd rather talk about maintaining academic integrity because I like to state stuff in positive terms. And in doing this, I could talk all about stuff like, truth and beauty and honesty, but I want to start off really by asking you a question. What gives you the right to change other people's behavior? Who the heck are you? Why do you think you have this right? I want you to think about that while I go through what I'm about to tell you. I've made a few notes here. If I look down, it's because I just sat out there and just made a few notes. I have nothing major prepared, but I feel pretty strongly about this, so I'll tell you what I feel about this. We're counting on you, really. We're counting that you, by choosing to take these courses, that you have decided to make a commitment to having a positive impact in the world. There are plenty of ways to make money, but the commitment that underlies doing applied behavior analysis is that you want to make a difference. Now, in these courses, we're going to be giving you a technology to use. It's not what ABA is all about specifically, but you'll be learning a technology, but it's not a technology of wires and processors or sensors and relays. It's a technology of action. It's a technology of human action. Now, those of you that have already started the courses, you're beginning to realize how powerful this can be. Those of you who are just beginning right now, you'll soon understand. And many of you are taking these, in fact, all of you are taking these for different reasons. You have different goals. Some of you may want to teach in schools. Some of you may have your own children or want to work with other children who exhibit behaviors that are characteristic of autism. Some of you may want to work with adults who have developmental challenges, or some of you may even want to go and work in organizational behavior management. The point here is that what we're doing is we're basically handing you an incredibly powerful technology that's based in the scientific worldview. With the power like this comes a lot of responsibility. I'm tempted to use the analogy of a gun, but I think getting away from that violent imagery, I think I'd rather use the analogy of a car. There are lots of things you can do with a car. A car is extremely efficient. It can provide you with many times its own cost and added value to your life. And some of those values you can't even measure, right? Now, you can also use a car to do a bank heist or to chase people around, right? But most people don't use a car for those types of dark purposes. Generally a car is used for pretty good things. But then there are bad drivers. We all know them. We've all seen them. At the very minimum, they can cost you a lot of time, and they can also put people's lives at risk. And you may be tempted to ask yourself when you get behind these people, where did they learn to drive, right? Well, in a sense, what we're doing in this course is we're handing you a race car. Actually, it's probably more correct to say we're handing you an 18-wheeler truck. And that if you don't learn every bit you can about how to handle that truck, people are going to get hurt. People's lives are at risk here. The people that come to us usually are people who have, other things have been tried. Pretty much behavior analysis is oftentimes the last stop. We're the people everyone comes to when nothing else has worked. Now, let's say that you decide that you just have to get through this one exam, right? It won't matter all that much. Nobody's going to know about it. First, let me tell you that I could tell you stories about how we follow through on trying to maintain academic integrity, but let me tell you, confidentiality prevents me from talking about stuff, but suffice it to say that people who underestimate our commitment to academic integrity do so at their own academic peril. All right, we are very, very committed to this, and there are reasons for it. But let's say you do this, and let's say you figure just this once, and by some chance it works, okay? And it'll get easier next time, right? Anything you do, if it's not the right thing to do, it always gets easier the next time. But, you say, well, it doesn't matter. This is just a course. It's just a grade. So let me ask you this. What happens 5 years from now when you're sitting in the middle of a meeting, a program planning meeting, and you're staring down the double barrel of, on the one hand, a kid who is banging his head bloody and is biting anybody that tries to stop him from doing this. And in the other barrel is a room full of caregivers who are all looking to you to provide programmatic leadership and to figure out what to do. What will your grade mean then? How important will your grade be at that point? You got to ask yourself, why are you doing this? Why have you decided to take these courses? If you're going to take liberties with your own integrity now, what are you going to do when it really counts? What are you going to do when people's lives are on the line? People die here. I know this is kind of harsh language here, but I just testified in a case a few years ago where a 14-year-old kid who had Down syndrome and exhibited autistic behaviors died, right? Last year, 2 people in a neighboring county died under restraint. The restraints were done incorrectly. People hadn't learned the restraints properly, and the restraints were done incorrectly. People lose their eyes, right? Then you get the other side. People kill other people sometimes in their treatment. I worked with a guy who not only set fires once in a while, right, but he got mad at his roommate one time. And so he waited until they went to bed, and then about 2 o'clock in the morning, he got up and he broke the lamp in the bedroom, and he cut the guy's throat. He cut his roommate's throat. The roommate luckily didn't die, but he almost died. The people that we work with are, in many cases, are people who have the most difficult problems, right? And can do things that you just simply don't expect. We work with people in homes, we work with people in schools, we work with people at work sites, we work all around. But generally speaking, the behavior analysts get called in when people have tried everything else and nothing else has worked. I could tell you lots of stories about people I've worked with, lots and lots of stories. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you about, what about organizational behavior management? You may say, well, I'm going into business and industry. It won't matter. You know what you do in business and industry? Mostly you do things like risk management. What does that mean? You prevent people from losing their arms in machinery, right? So what I'm trying to get you to realize here is how serious what you've taken on here is. For those of you that have seen some of the videos so far, why do you think Jose gets so upset? Why do you think he gets so emotionally involved in some of the cases that he tells you about? He starts remembering what it was like and he gets upset. This is not an act, right? This is what we do. This is what behavior analysts do. Now, let's say that you just missed the section where you figure, and I see this all the time, people turning in monthly graphs on behavior. But let's say that you got somebody who every 3rd week they're going out with their uncle, and they have major behavior problems as soon as they get back from being out with their uncle. And so you see a big spike in their behavior when they come back to their group home. You might not see that on the monthly chart. You might only see that on the weekly chart, but you missed the part about weekly charts and you didn't see how important that was. And so you may be missing a very, very important issue in this person's life. They may be getting sexually abused and you need to, the data may tell you that. But if you don't know how to properly do your graphs, you'll never know, right? What about the kid who is, you decided, okay, you missed the Stokes and Bear article. You didn't read the Stokes and Bear article on maintenance and generalization. You wanted to, you missed it. Another article, man, I can't read another article. So you missed that one. So now you got a kid who you're funded to work with for 18 months. And yeah, you get the kid to stop hitting himself. But you never teach him the replacement skills, and you never get his skills to maintain and generalize to other areas of his life. And so the skills never spread out. And he ends up spending his life in a group home or in some kind of setting that he didn't have to spend his life in. right? This job is about more than just preventing injuries. This job is about teaching people how to live better lives, teaching people how to really expand their skills. But if you miss parts of what we are trying to teach you here, you may miss key elements of things that you need to know. Day after day, week after week, we are trying to give you information this information has been learned at the expense of really tens of thousands of people in the last 50 years. You may not really get why I'm saying that. What do I mean at the expense of that people are sacrificing? Behavior analysis was implemented with people who lived in institution. They lived desperate lives. They're surrounded by people who may be violent. They had very limited skills. They couldn't do anything, and they were living horrifyingly bad lives. And behavior analysis helped those people. They had to go through decades of sacrifice, essentially, in order to bring to you the information that we are now able to bring to you, because what behavior analysis has been able to learn about how to work with people and how to teach people how to really live better lives. But if you take this course for granted, or you just kind of say, well, cheating a little bit isn't so bad, you are invalidating those people's suffering. I know you may not realize that, but that's really what's happening. We work for the people for the decades, I'm not sure how to put this. I don't know. Don't invalidate the people who have suffered for this. Don't invalidate the parents. Think about the parents who night after night get no sleep. They're working with a child who has started to exhibit autistic-like behaviors, and they don't know what to do, and they go through day after day, week after week of trying to figure out what to do. And finally, behavior analysis comes in, and we learn how to work with children like this. And we actually make a gigantic difference. If you're going to take these courses, okay, what you got to realize is what you're learning comes from them. It doesn't come from academia. It doesn't come from some textbook. It comes from the people who have had to suffer through these events. You need to honor that suffering. You need to honor the sacrifice of these people. You need to be honest with yourself, and you need to be honest with the people around you, and maintain academic integrity here, okay? If you can't do this, that's okay. We're not saying that, people do what they do, but just please, don't do this. Go work with somebody else. Go do something else and let us get on with our job. If you can maintain your integrity, you have an incredible adventure ahead of you in terms of what you can do with behavior analysis. So please, join us in this effort, or just go do something else. So, thank you.